liberty and justice for all. Now I start the meeting at 6:33 p.m. It's still within the minute, so. All right, so we have an agenda here, and are there any modifications to the agenda?
Yeah, we have two presentations that will be postponed at a later date. Elizabeth Hill in her presentation for the Wellness Committee for Brown County Schools, and then Mark Bruner and the Way of the Eagle. Unfortunately, we have to postpone those to a later date. So those are the only two modifications.
All right. Do we have an emotion to approve the modified agenda?
I so move.
Second. Any discussion? Then we'll call.
Amy,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes.
Vicky,
Yes.
Stephanie,
Yes.
and Doug.
Yes.
All right. Next, number 3, we have recognition of visitors and comments from the audience. We have some forms over here for anyone who would like to be recognized during this portion. Claire, do you have something?
Oh, I do it.
You just
Bring it up to you. Okay.
yes, and then we have a 3-minute limit on that. So if you want to sit there in the front row and go ahead and speak, and then
I don't have my cards with me.
oh, that's all right. I will. We just to make sure that we're always very equal with everyone. We do set a 3-minute timer, and I'll just kind of give you a little signal when your time is up. That work?
Yeah, no, that's fine. I think,
And do just start with introduction of yourself, who you are, what what your interest in Brown County Schools is, and we'll go from there.
okay. My name is Lauren McKinney. I am the president of Spertica PTO, new this year. One of the, I guess the main reason I came today, not only to get more involved in the school, the referendum has been something that we've been talking about a lot. It was kind of a wake-up call that failed. I'm sure it's not news to anyone here. So what some PTO members from not only my school, but other schools and other people that were interested want to know is how we can be involved, if there are any next steps that are set in concrete plans yet, anything that we could do to help. I know it might be a little late to the game considering the first election obviously didn't go our way, but I know I feel I was told that people would reach out to me as PTO president before the election and that didn't happen. So maybe I should have pushed more, but basically here we are as parents, as PTO members, pushing, saying that we don't want to give up, we want to keep fighting, and we just want to know that, we may not have been as utilized as we could before, but obviously we should have been, and we don't want that mistake to happen again. So we just want to be more involved. We're going to try and have someone from the PTO here at every meeting if possible, and just know that we are a resource that we want to be utilized more to ensure that the school system flourishes and survives. That's basically my piece.
Right, very good. Thank you. Are there any other comments from the audience?
I want to say happy Board Appreciation Day.
Oh,
Thank you all
thank
so
you.
much for supporting Brown County Schools.
We wouldn't be here without you guys. Any other comments? All right, we'll move on. Thank you, Ms. McKinney, for your statements. Really appreciate that. All right, number 4, we do have one presentation. Is that right?
Yes, and at this time, I would like to introduce Chandra Coffey to come up. She is our benefits advisor. She helps us with everything medical, dental, vision. She is our liaison and our partner between Proactive MD and our health clinic. And she has brought 2 presentations to me, and just highly impressed and would like for the board to be able to hear it for future consideration. So
Great.
I'll turn it over.
Okay, thank you so much, Emily, and thank you, board, for allowing us this opportunity. Again, my name is Chandra Coffey. I'm a consultant for Brown County Schools with Brown and Brown, and one of our roles and value, hopefully, that we bring to schools and our clients is finding really those outside of the box type of cost-saving programs. So we're going to be talking about 2 programs today. I won't say too much here, but I won't steal their thunder, but one of the programs that we're going to talk about today is a Center of Excellence. It's an orthopedic center of excellence. We have partnered with Hendricks Regional Health. We are just so proud of this partnership, and you're going to learn more from Brandon Smith, who is the Director of Business Development. The other program that we're going to talk about focuses on prescription. Really prescriptions and the cost of prescriptions account for at least 50% of total healthcare spend. So we're trying to focus on those type of procedures, surgeries, RX, what has the most impact on the cost of healthcare. RX Protect, Nate Hughes is here with us today. He's the CEO of RX Protect, so he's going to be talking about his program. And just to give you a couple of statistics, really there's about 3 to 5% of your employee population that really accounts for at least 50% of your total RX spend. So what RX Protect does is focus on that 5%, driving down your spend for RX. So I'll get out of the way here. I'm going to introduce Brandon Smith. If you can go ahead and kick off the presentation. And again, thank you for being here.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me. I'm going to plug in over here. So I'll do my best not to turn my back to you. Do we need to switch inputs or anything? No. Focus.
It's over there.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so Brandon's Director of Business Development for Hendricks Regional Health. I'm a registered nurse by training and been on the business side of things for about 10 years now with our organization. So I was going to ask that question. Does anybody even know where Hendricks County is?
Some lives in Avon.
Your son lives in Avon. So we're the county adjacent to Indianapolis. We're on the west of Indianapolis. So if you ever go to the airport, you drive into Plainfield, I live like 10 minutes from there. And Hendricks Regional Health is a little bit further west than that. It's in Danville. So that's always important. First thing I ask people is, have you heard of Hendricks County? Hendricks Regional Health is a health system there. So we have a couple hospitals, a lot of medical offices, things like that. This is a program that we put together with your benefit advisor, Ari Sutton and Brown & Brown, that has been, I guess, live for a little over a year now. It's specific to orthopedic surgery, which I'll get into kind of how the concept works. A Center for Excellence, the idea is that you want to find a partner who offers a specific service. In this case, it's orthopedic surgery at a really high level from a quality standpoint, first and foremost, certainly safety. Also, we have a ton of expertise in this area, so we can be really efficient and help hopefully drive you some cost savings as well. But we really, that's the lowest priority. It should be for you. High quality and excellent patient experience is what you should, as an employer, your employees should be most concerned about. So this is not something unique to us or the school systems or the Sutton Group. This is a concept that big employers you've all heard of, that they've been on this train, so to speak, for several years. They have a national footprint, so they use a little bit different model. It's a little more dramatic. You might have read about it in the news. It's called medical tourism, where they'll fly somebody from Arizona to Johns Hopkins in Boston, and it is cheaper for them than doing orthopedic surgery locally. Ours is not a national footprint. We have all Indiana-based employers, 162 employers to be exact, which represent about 58,000 people. That's employees and then their spouses and dependents. So specifically what you would be looking for and what our program offers and the programs that these companies partner with are those high quality outcomes, comprehensive services. So it's not just, we don't just do one surgery, we do all orthopedic surgery. Episode of care is relevant if it's not lower. If we had a high episode of care cost, then that wouldn't make sense for you. We have designed our program to have no out-of-pocket costs for the employee. That's not necessarily the case with all of those programs that they work with, but that's how ours works. And it gets employees back to work faster. Okay, so next slide is going to start a video. It's about 4 minutes long. What's hard for me to relate to you is the culture of Hendricks. So in the video, you'll meet our surgeons, our sports med physicians, and also our CEO and some others. Hopefully sound goes. If not, might have to start. Good deal.
It's different about Hendricks Regional Health is the people, the care. You don't feel like a number. We give you that more individualized approach to medicine. We deliver quick, efficient, effective care that is second to none.
We are a high quality, low cost, high patient satisfaction organization with incredible associates who care passionately about the patients that they're here to care for.
You treat everyone like they're your neighbor, friend, family.
What I love about Hendricks is the consistency of quality.
We all have a common goal. We all focus it around patient care.
We have been recognized by Health Grades for 14 years in a row for patient experience. There's only 7 other organizations in the country who have that sort of track record from a patient experience perspective.
It's a big responsibility that we don't take lightly.
The partnerships with our schools are critical to our community's success. We need to be a solution for our school systems who are pressed for resources, who are pressed to find resources to pay teachers more. And our obligation to them is to try to find low-cost, high-quality options for all of them.
Currently, we are taking care of every high school in Hendricks County as well as Putnam County.
I'm really excited, very proud of our Orthopedic Center for Excellence.
I'm Dr. Chad Waits. My name is Brad Prather. Tyler Beckley. My name is Kyle Ritter. I'm an orthopedic surgeon at Hendricks Regional Health. One of the real advantages that we have here at Hendricks is the scope of the services that we have to offer in the world of orthopedics and sports medicine. Surgery isn't something that anybody wants. For patients, there's a natural set of fears, concerns, and to be able to take them from really not having a good quality of life, not being able to enjoy their hobbies and the things they like to do. Several weeks or several months later, turn around and say, I haven't done that for years. That's probably the most gratifying part about it.
I have about an hour to make a change in you. And as long as your wounds heal well, then I'm just a cheerleader for you.
The rehab may take months. And so really what I do is a small portion of their total recovery. The goal is really patient first. There's that ability to communicate that between the surgeon, with the therapist, sports medicine doc, to be able to facilitate the best care possible for them.
Because of the size of the hospital and the players that we have, they are able to progress quicker than other places because it's the right size to allow things to happen.
One of the most important benefits of the team approach that we have in our orthopedics program, that it allows us to provide our care in as efficient and timely manner as possible.
Smoothness of the operation is something that I hear from my patients all the time. They were expecting that this knee replacement, this hip replacement was going to take everything out of them, and they just don't find it to be so.
I go days without even thinking about my hip. Thank you for doing such a great job communicating with me throughout the process. And the fact that I can walk pain-free is all that I really could have asked for.
One of the biggest advantages of having as comprehensive of a line of musculoskeletal health care that we have to offer allows us to take care of as many orthopedic and sports medicine issues in-house.
The importance of the growth that we've had over the past 10 years, from an orthopedic standpoint, it's allowed us to not only treat more patients and to be part of the state-of-the-art procedures and instrumentation, which ultimately benefits the patient.
We opened the new surgical wing a year after we started, and it's a state-of-the-art facility. The most rewarding thing about what I do, and it sounds cliche, but I enjoy helping people.
And that's kind of when I got into medicine, to see somebody that's come in and say, thank you so much. I never thought I'd be able to do this again. That's a good thing.
Whether they're a hip fracture or they're a high functioning athlete, we're all kind of working towards the same thing.
The most rewarding part of what I do is the patient interaction.
It's nice to be able to see someone walk better, or swing their arm better, or just be out of pain.
So this is the team of providers that were introduced in the video. Orthopedic surgeons are on the top left there. Our sports medicine physicians are on the right. At the bottom here, we have Dr. Miller was not featured in the video, but he's a spine surgeon who works here. So spine surgery is also included in the program. And then the physician's assistants who support that team. Okay, so this few slides here, this is to give you some sense of reassurance, I guess, for a system that you've not heard of. You absolutely should be concerned with the quality that we bring to the table. We do over 2,000 orthopedic surgeries per year, which is a lot. 96% say that they would recommend the practice to others. Another 95% rate their provider as a 9 or a 10 out of 10. This last statistic actually is a little more impressive now because we've received the highest patient experience award that came from Health Grades organization for 15 consecutive years. We are a member of the Mayo Clinic Care Network, so that is not an easy thing to do. That took about 7 years for them to welcome us into that network. Magnet is specific to nursing. I believe 7% of hospitals in the world have received that designation for nursing care. We've done that for 12 years running now. We're applying for a 4th cycle in the fall. Leapfrog is around hospital safety. We've received an A. There is no A+, just for you in the room. A is the highest rating we get. We've received that many years running. And then Partnership for Excellence, you may have heard of the Malcolm Baldrige National Quality Award. There's an education track. There's a healthcare track, and that validates our business practices. We received the highest level state award, the Governor's Platinum Award, in that 2 years ago. Specific to orthopedic care, Medicare, who is the largest healthcare payer in the nation, ran a program for 3 years that we were in, specific to joint replacement. So this, on the spectrum of complexity and costs and all of those things, this is as far as you can get on the complexity scale with orthopedic surgery. We are highlighted in green there to help us stand out. But we should stand out anyway because we're the only program in the state to receive the highest rating. Sorry, you've got to there.
Oh, yeah, no.
What it says is excellent, excellent, excellent. And nobody else does. Okay. So again, this is just to give you a sense of the quality of our program. Okay, so this is a typical Center of Excellence patient journey. These blue dots happen at home. The blue dots at the end happen at home. And in the middle, there's those kind of whitish gray dots. I talked about Walmart earlier. So a patient is seen at home by a physician. They fly somewhere, they have surgery, they come back home, their PT happens at home, and they follow with a surgeon at home who did not do the surgery. That's not how our program works. The physicians that were introduced in our video, they were adamant about that last dot is green. That happens with Hendrix. Everything with Hendrix is green, if you haven't gotten that by now. So there is an initial encounter at home. So somebody needs to go see someone, their provider of choice, whoever that is, that says, yeah, I really think you need to probably see a surgeon. At that point, it's a shared diagnosis between that provider and ours. There's a referral that would happen. There's a virtual consult that can happen. If there's any rehab that needs to happen, physical therapy ahead of time, that would happen locally, so nobody's traveling to and from Hendricks County. But then we're going to take over for the next part of this. And we have worked really hard to make this easy for the patient. We have 2 people, their full-time job is to help patients through this program. So they're going to help get the notes from the other physician, make sure everything gets back to them, set up PT, all that kind of stuff. Again, there's PT at the end. There always is with orthopedic surgery. And then that final follow-up visit is going to happen with the surgeon who actually performed surgery. That was really important to our doctors. I won't go through everything here. The point of this slide is to show that almost every orthopedic or spine surgery that we offer is included in the program. The few things that are not, if you can't read them, they're things that you don't ever want to happen, for one. And 2, if they do, you don't want to drive an hour to have somebody fix it. So it's trauma, accidents, things like that. Those are not included. Everything else you can think of is included. So knees and hips and all those things are included in the program. What we have seen a lot of are knee replacements, hip replacements, carpal tunnel is really common among education as well. Those are the things we see a lot of through this program. Those dots, every one of those represents an employer in Indiana who's partnered with us and who's sending us patients. I already mentioned 58,000 lives. We performed 114 surgeries through this program in the first year. And of those 114 people, 22 have already come back to us and said, I had such a great experience. I want to schedule a follow-up surgery. So I had my right knee done. I want to have my left done. Or I had my shoulder worked on. I want my hip worked on. Things like that. That is a really shocking statistic to us. As Dr. Wade says, nobody wants to have surgery. So to have them elect to come back the second time within a year is kind of mind-blowing. So I went through these things before. I said other programs guarantee these things. We do as well. The last thing that I want to mention about the way we designed the program, I made a comment about zero out of pocket for the employees. We recognize that it's an inconvenience for a patient who lives here to come to us. And for this to work, it's a voluntary benefit everywhere that we've implemented it. To steer people, to make them, incentivize them to consider it beyond the quality and the experience that they receive. The employer, we have priced this at a point where the employer is saving money in every case compared to what they would pay anyway to do it locally. But they are also paying for 100% of the surgery costs. So the employee has no out-of-pocket costs. This doesn't run through their insurance. It's done on a just basically a cash payment basis where we say we're going to lower the price. It's at a price that the school system can afford and the employee isn't. Any questions?
Yes.
That's the end of my spiel. Thank you for giving me so much time.
Yes, thank you. It was very, very informative. And maybe Chandra, if you could speak to, just so the board is very clear on how does our process work right now for an employee that may have to have a surgery, and how would moving to this save the employee, but also Brown County Schools
Yes,
financially?
absolutely.
That's what we're
So
trying
we want to focus on,
Technical question.
Yeah.
Robotic surgery on the knees? We do not do robotic surgery. Okay, just wondering. I can tell you why if you want to. No, you don't. Okay, there's a good reason.
Well, why?
So we don't, because the surgical outcomes don't tend to justify the extra time of the person taking some case. But I'll defer to your expertise. No, I just was curious. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So we might focus on the employee and or dependent experience right now. Look, we don't have this program in place right now. So what happens with the employer or dependent who needs surgery? They have maybe a primary care physician that is maybe referring them or saying, hey, I think you need to see an orthopedic physician. That happens, they determine that they need surgery. In that instance, that employee would have their, if they have it met, would have their major medical deductible to meet and they're out of pocket, whatever plan they're on currently. So again, they would have that expense. They could pick and choose whatever provider, wherever they want to go to have that type of surgery. What we've also found with this program, because we have vetted this very strongly, it just so happens that one of the most prestigious hospitals is right here in Indiana. So I don't know if you're familiar with the RAND study that was performed. It's going back almost 5 years that the RAND study has been in place. And what that did was a study initially started in Indiana that wanted to look at specific services and procedures that hospitals performed in Indiana and how did they differ with the price. So that was a very telling study that determined inpatient and outpatient type of services and what the cost was for those services and how much they differed with different providers. So that really became a part of this transparency that you're starting to see from not only healthcare providers and hospitals, but also with insurance companies as well. I say that to say this, Hendricks Regional Hospital, we have the savings, we have the numbers. We're seeing anywhere from, let's just take a knee surgery, for example, the cost of that, just the surgery is roughly $30,000. Comparing that to other providers, you can see anywhere from $50,000 to $60,000. Because you're a self-funded plan, that is directly affecting the employers out of pocket and what they're paying for those type of services. We don't want to make this mandatory. We want to make this an optional, but it's such a great experience. And we do understand there is travel involved too. But the incentive of choosing Hendricks Regional is that the employee does not have a deductible to meet, does not have any out of pocket. And we also recognize, depending on how far you're traveling to Hendricks Regional has partnered with us to allow a one-night overstay at a hotel for their significant other. So again, there's just some incentives in place because of the cost savings, not only to the employee, but ultimately to the employer, which will help, again, hopefully lower those premiums that we're seeing year over year. You have a question?
Of course it does. The anesthesiologist, though,
It's all,
it's included,
it's all included.
because what people may or may not know is you get surgery, you get, oh yeah, well, and oh, by the way, you'll get the anesthesiology bill because it isn't covered by that insurance, and you get,
It's all.
it's good to hear.
Yeah, that's a great question.
Good point.
Great question.
And how do you partner then with someone here to do the rehab? Because I just went through this with my mom in October. She had her knee replacement and then, has been going through various rehab.
So we feel that physical therapy is probably as important as the surgery to the outcome. And so when we started this, we said before we do one surgery, we want to make sure we have our protocols explicitly written out. These will be agreed to, and there's a reporting structure that goes with that to ensure that what we've prescribed is actually what happens. If someone doesn't do that, which hasn't happened yet, we wouldn't send patients to them anymore. And we've done that throughout the state.
So meaning you're partnering, for instance, with IU Health, which is one of our major
Probably
providers.
not IU, but there are other, there's independent physical therapy groups that we've partnered with, but it just depends on the area.
Right. But that's the one that's in Nashville. So, that's my concern is that, when my mom, who's 84, needs to go to outpatient rehab for therapy, she needs to go to the closest facility.
I'm confident we will find whoever works best for the patient because it's important to us that they do the rehab. We're not going to exclude anyone as long as they're willing to.
Right, I'm just talking about that distance issue.
Yeah.
Because this county, depending on where you live, depends on where the closest cardiac rehab or physical therapy services are in outpatient clinic. Like you said earlier, we're not going to drive all the way back to there. That has to be part of the thought process that they get their stuff done to. Yeah, as much as possible, because otherwise you're just wasting your time and energy.
One additional incentive with this program is a cash incentive that the employer would be responsible for as well. Again, it's just accounting for, the travel, if you will. Depending on the surgery, we put in place a 500, anywhere from 500 to 1,500 cash incentive to the employee for choosing Hendricks Regional Health too. So again, just another incentive, if you will, to that the employees are aware of to help with the travel if that is an issue too.
So you're gonna pay the employee?
The employer does.
So we have.
Well, where does that money come from?
So we call it a shared savings credit. So we report on the bill that you paid this amount for it. And then we put an additional credit onto it that the employer agrees to pay cash basis to the employee. That's tax applicable. So it would be taxed as normal, as income. So it just depends on how expensive essentially the surgery was, because the more expensive it was, to Chandler's point. I don't know if I have that slide. There was a slide that I had that shows that you would easily save, depending on where you went for like a knee replacement, easily $20,000. So in that case, the employee would get a $1,500 check to offset the cost of the inconvenience.
Oh, by the way, I do recognize all the excellent service.
Yeah, they're real.
Yeah, that's impressive.
I'm still working.
Any other questions?
Thank you. Sorry.
No, thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Nick,
All right.
you're up next.
Thanks for letting me chat. I can tell you just based on experience and what little I know about the healthcare space, cash paying strategies are kind of the way of the future. So that all makes sense to me. It's incredible. Some might call it a problem. That's you can pay cash for 40, 50% less than if it went through insurance. Now, one thing we have in common with that, Hendrix, is in regard to our Protect's medication program. Look at that. Doesn't it look nice? Look at us together. Just hanging out. So my name's Nick Hughes, the CEO of Arts Protect. I started this company right when COVID hit, which was a terrible time to start a business. I didn't know it was gonna be a global pandemic, so I put it on the back burner for a little bit, did a lot of due diligence, got to know some of the competitors in the space, and worked really hard to do things better than what they did. We created a very effective model that's helping a ton of people. And that's why I started Arts Protect, was to help people. I come from kind of a interesting healthcare background. I won't get into it, but let's just say I had a chance to look at a lot of RX claims data from self-insured companies, self-insured groups like yourself. And it just blew me away as to how much money these brand name medications were costing. Generics are great. We don't help with generics, we don't have generics, they don't have generics. But these brand name medications that most of the time offer no generic option are crushing your plan, and they're a thorn in the side to their members. And being someone whose dad has diabetes, family has some issues, that just drove me crazy. And so I just sought out to find a better way. That's the story. I'm going to kind of walk you through the model and what we do. But essentially the solution or the conclusion, but we focus on high cost brand name meds. The member gets the medication for free when they enroll into our program. Okay, which is awesome. No copay, no paying for deductible. While at the same time, your plan is going to save a significant amount of money. So I'm going to walk through how that happens. Has anyone heard of personal importation? Kind of a fancy term. Whatever. All it means is receiving certain medications from outside of the US. Sounds crazy. It's not. Why is that? Well, most medications are manufactured outside of the US. There's a lot of groups that do what we do. A lot of groups that don't do things the right way. And because of that, it presents a stigma. A certain stigma, right? Medications are important. You can't just import meds from wherever just because they're cheaper. Cheaper is not always better, right? So RX Protect, myself and my advisors and the pharmacists I have on staff, we set out and said, let's try to eliminate that stigma by doing things different. And the way that we go about that is providing a strong peace of mind and knowing, one, where the medications come from. So we're working with McKesson and only with McKesson. McKesson is one of the largest drug distributors and suppliers across the world. It supplies many of the medications that you take here in the US. Globally recognized to do things the right way. A medication from McKesson is a medication from McKesson. Okay? So we said one supplier that's going to provide a certain peace of mind and knowing that it's a medication from McKesson, right? It's not a medication from Joe's Pharmacy in Turkey or whatever. Sounds silly, but it's true. Some people do that. One country, we have a pharmacy in Winnipeg, Canada. Just over the border. McKesson provides every medication that we dispense out of our pharmacy. When we dispense a med, it goes straight to the doorstep of the member. So we maintain full control over the supply chain. That sounds like a no-brainer, but no one in the space is really doing that. They get it from multiple countries, multiple suppliers, multiple pharmacies, whatnot. I wouldn't be able to sleep at night if I did that. We're taking care of people. We're taking care of medications in the right way. So we've eliminated a lot of the variables that are out in the market today by utilizing one supplier, one country, one pharmacy. Essentially how it works, very, very simple. I put Lilly's logo on here. This could be any manufacturer or any big pharma company, just an example. But the medication goes from manufacturer, McKesson picks up that med, from the manufacturer. Sometimes it's McKesson USA, sometimes it's McKesson Canada. No rhyme or reason, but they take it to our pharmacy in Winnipeg. And then again, it's dispensed straight to the doorstep of the member. It's a streamlined process. We know where the med is the entire time. Our pharmacy handles the med the right way. We do, we utilize this process knowing that this truly is the most simplified way. And if you've ever looked at, if I was to draw on that whiteboard kind of how medications usually work, it would be kind of a spider web of a mess, right? And there's a lot of contingent, well, if this person or this person, they get a fee, they get a fee, they get a fee. And one of the reasons why medications are as expensive as they are, it's not necessarily big pharma. It's big pharma plus 5, 6 other middlemen. So we bypass those folks for certain meds. And in doing so, we can deliver medications, which to you all would be 30 to 40% less to them. You get 30 to 40% net savings to the bottom line after our fees taken out, which I'll get into in a moment. As Chandra mentioned, we go after a small percentage of folks because we are really just targeting the brand name meds, right? We don't want to mess with generics. Generics are great. Stay on a generic. That's pennies on the dollar. You know, that's a good deal for you. But this small group of folks, Chandra said 3 to 7%. I say 5 to 10, tomato, tomato. The idea is it's not a lot of people that are accounting for a large percentage of the plan spend. Big problem, okay? So we go in and we help just those folks. We do common specialty. So Humira, Enbrel, Tecfidera, Stelara. Maybe it sounds like I'm speaking a foreign language this morning. But if you had all those names, put dollars next to it, it's not a good scene. You got 50 grand a year, 84 grand a year, 48 grand a year, right? One person. Imagine a couple people on that. Right? It's a big problem. So we come in and help those folks.
Or you're watching TV and you're getting those commercials.
Yeah, 70% of commercials in the US are medication.
Well,
in other countries, they're not allowed to advertise. But our cost advantage out of Canada, okay, because we are dispensing from Canada, we can take advantage of Canadian pricing. Things are different in Canada. For as great as our healthcare system is, there's some cons to it. One is obviously the cost of that. So we go to Canada and say, we use USPS to ship the medication, right? We have a tracking number the minute it's dispensed. We get in front of the member, here's your tracking number, let's track it together, we keep an eye on it. It's all good. It's a mail order program, nothing new. A lot of mail order programs here in the US. So members they catch on real quick. But here's kind of the ticker. So when I say net savings, our fee has already been accounted for. Okay, so 30 to 40% net savings to your bottom line. Last year, across every client, on average, our clients saved an average of $6,140 per person that enrolled into our program. Now that's different across the board, depending on how big your group is and how many people are on insulin versus whatever. But I don't know if there's any math teachers in here, right? You wouldn't need very many people to suddenly save into the 6 figures, right? And that would be our target. We have other school systems that we're doing very, very well with. We have 30 people enrolled in one, 40 in another, 17 in one. They enroll, great, you're gonna save you money. It adds up quick. So our clients are saving well into the 6 figures with a few approaching 7 figures. They're a little bit larger.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
About that, because that seems pretty impactful, right? So I just want to clarify, when you say per enrollee or per client, that's Brown County Schools is saving that per employee that would choose to go with this for their prescription drugs.
Correct. Yeah.
Just wanted to clarify.
Yeah. And so about
At no cost to us.
well, you would pay the cost of the medication through my program. No cost to the member, but the cost of the medication through our test is going to be 30 to 40% less than if they had gone to CVS, Walgreens, or traditional retail pharmacy. For bypass.
Which we're paying it.
We're definitely different.
Yes.
I just wanted to make it clear.
Yes.
We are doing that.
You are paying a lot of money for medicine. And then
Everybody pays that, but
the employee pays zero. That's the incentive for folks to enroll. Most enrollees, I think per person, they're on 1.7 medications through our program. So more often than not, somebody will send us 2 to 3 scripts because they're on more than just one brand med. So maybe we only help 20 people, but it might be more like, 50 medications. So that's how it adds up, and that's where that large dollar savings comes from. But yeah, we eliminate the copay deductible per member. This is a voluntary program. We're not going to force anyone to do this as much as you would like to force them. Because it's from Canada, you cannot make it mandatory. That's one of the laws that Congress has passed to allow this to happen. There's certain contingents we have to abide by. However, the messaging can obviously come out and say, hey, we can work on messaging together. I kind of know what works based on other clients. Just raising that awareness. But the overall theme is very simple. It's if you or a dependent are covered under our benefit plan and are taking one or more of the following medications, you're eligible to get your medication for free delivered straight to your doorstep. That's the theme of the message. It works wonders. People like free, especially when these medications are a thorn in their family finances every month or every 90 days. I actually had the chance to look. I received some RX claims data of your actual plan. This was a little while back, but I think it's still relevant to go over just as an example. Of course, there was no PHS and no patient health information. I don't know who's on what. It was just the list of meds and how much you spent through the plan. Meaning, if they over the past 12 months without us there, right? Whatever pharmacy these folks went to, this is what cost your plan. You can see, get in the way, but if you look at Skyrizi, okay, there's only 4 scripts for Skyrizi, but it cost you $67,000. 4 scripts. This is where I like to be a salesperson.
Per year?
Yes, for whatever time period this data was. Whereas if you kind of scroll over, Skyrizi through us would have cost you $55,000. So you would have saved $12,000 from one person on 4 scripts. Taltz, we would have saved $31,000. Tesla, 11. So you kind of go down this list. See, it's not a lot of strips, but just whatever time period this was, we had the opportunity, if these folks had gone through RX Protect instead of their traditional retail pharmacy, with whatever time period this was of data, you would have saved about $87,000 to your bottom line. This, and my fee is already included in these figures.
And our employee wouldn't have to pay anything.
Your employee would have paid 0, whereas they actually paid $52,000. So eliminate the 52. They could keep $52,000 in their pocket, get the exact medication they need. Obviously vital. Not paying $1. They're gonna love you. Trust me. The testimonials we get are out of control. I mean, they're just like, thank you for offering this. I mean, it's really a nice employee retention tool, to be honest, because this is a great perk. But at the same time, your plan is going to save a lot of money as well.
Board, I just asked Chandra, so those figures were either from 9 months or 12 months worth of data. So if you say for an entire year, it would have saved almost $60,000 to the school. So.
The great thing about what we do, because it is cash pay, we're not dependent upon open enrollment. And you don't have to change a thing to your plan. You don't have to change PDN, TPA, anyone. It is a voluntary program. So you're offering this program as kind of a complimentary service to all the great things you already have in place. It's up to us to drive that enrollment. But that's the beauty of it. we launch our program 12 months a year. It's definitely not dependent upon open enrollment. Our fee structure is very simple. We share in the savings and that's it. There's no per employee per month. There's no per member per month, no other acronym to come up with. It is shared savings. That's it. So if somebody enrolls, we take a share of that savings. Essentially, we just look at what the plan would have paid based on the data. Right? If they've gone to a traditional retail pharmacy, subtract our cost, that's the savings. We take a percentage of that savings, you keep the rest, that's the only time we get paid. So this has never happened, knock on wood. If no one was to enroll, we make $0. So there's a lot of skin in the game for us to do things the right way. One of the ways that we do that outside of the great model that we put together in regard to providing peace of mind, working with McKesson, right, what we already went over, is how we treat the member. So I come from this idea in healthcare where relationships matter, and successful healthcare programs are driven on relationships. Every call, you're going to have a dedicated nurse. If you decide to use this program, you'll have a nurse dedicated to your account. Every call that goes out from Orange Protect, every call that comes in for customer support is going to be answered by, so going out and being answered by the same nurse. Not a nurse, it's clinician driven. We have pharmacists on staff as well. If they, somebody needs a consultation or a provider calls in and wants to speak to a pharmacist. This might seem like a no-brainer, but it's wildly important. A lot of groups outsource their call center, for example, things like that. Not clinician driven, not clinical driven. You know, the reason why we can drive such a high enrollment rate on a voluntary program is because we do things the right way. You know, the nurses that we have on staff and that we hire have a big heart. They love people. They understand our mission is to help people. And that's what they strive to do every single day. And so those are the stories that I hear. Some of them are on a text basis, the text our nurses. You know, those are the type of relationships that are being built, which is awesome. It's really easy to enroll. This is my last slide. Patient completes an intake form. There's multiple ways to do that. They're tech savvy. They can enroll online. It takes 1 to 2 minutes. We have a HIPAA compliant employee portal that kind of houses all that information. And then number 2, they need to pick up the phone and kindly call their clinician's office and say, hey, we've got this great new program from work where I can get this medication for free. Can you please fax a copy of my script or scripts to this fax number? We take that script, we do a little, thing that we do on the pharmacy side. If there's any questions, reach out to the provider, but we'll dispense that medication. Really start that interaction with the member. That's the only 2 things that we need. And then just full communication and transparency, right? Which is kind of hard to find sometimes in this space. But that's what our nurses do all day. They're interacting with members, even members that have been enrolled for 6 months. They might check in, they might shoot them a text, might shoot them an email, hey, how are things going? Anything we can do for you, right? It's above and beyond care. Because that's the only way this works. Last 3 things, next step, contract that's easy. Look it over. What you don't like, revise. We'll figure something out, no problem. We'll send out a couple messages leading up to the launch of the program. I can send some messages over that have worked very well. And basically, we'll take it and run with it from there. Once the launch happens, it's kind of all on our plate to do things the right way and to get those folks enrolled so that you all can save money and they can save money as well. That should be the last slide. Yeah, we do have other clients together. Chandra and I and their group. It's working well. So there's my number. So yeah, that's our concept.
I have one quick question.
Yes.
Am I right in understanding that you're not necessarily going to cover every medication?
Correct.
You just have that certain group, which.
Yep.
Yeah, because then the other ones could be just still covered locally.
Yeah, exactly. So essentially what we do, if after this meeting you all talk and you're like, we should probably do this. I would like to get the updated, most recent RX claims data, and I can do a new analysis. And that analysis will pick out how my data got pick up the medications that we know we can save a ton of money on. And that would just be the initial list that we launch with, and it would just be those meds. So yeah, we're not gonna save you a bunch of money. If we don't have access to it, it's not gonna be on the list.
Right, and that was the thing, I think,
That's
I
it.
thought you didn't necessarily have access to everything.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
just diabetic food that you were there.
Shoot. Diabetic.
And then some of the respiratory stuff,
Exactly.
that's all there.
Yep. Yep. Exactly right.
Those are two real big ones right there.
They are. Yeah, unfortunately, diabetes is so rampant. It's probably 80% of the meds we ship out is because of the volume of the disease state. It's diabetic related, but it does help so many people. It's awesome.
Do you ever have any supply issues?
We haven't. Part of the supply chain control. So in Q4, for example, there's a Ozempic shortage here. We were able to stay ahead of that and work with McKesson Canada and McKesson US to get the exact number of Ozempics that needed to go out. So we were kind of ahead of the game on that. We're good to go. So,
Where's your office located?
so on paper, it's in Louisville.
Oh.
I work out of Carmel. We're kind of segregated, so my nursing staff's the whole Midwest. They're former, used to work at a hospital, for whatever reason, decided to move on, but still want to be in the space.
So are you out of Carmel or do you?
I work in Carmel. Okay. Yep. Have a joint office in Louisville as well.
How's your relationship with the providers? Like how easy I used to work in tangential healthcare. I know one of the big hurdles for providers was getting that script to different pharmacies, and there's always fighting between my doctor doesn't work with this pharmacy or this pharmacy doesn't understand what my doctor wants, and that communication line. And given that you're totally male and over border, I could see that being either a scare tactic, something that people are scared of, or a hindrance when I can't just go into my pharmacy and tell them what my doctor's telling me.
Yeah, so I would say one out of about 20 enrollees, the doctor is kind of like, wait, I'm supposed to fax the script to who?
Yeah, I noticed you don't have an e-script.
Yeah, we
That
don't.
was
But,
big, wasn't it?
yes, so what I've learned, there's a couple of things I've learned. One, where there's a will, there's a way. Okay. But two, doctors really like the idea of their patients being able to actually get them the medication non-compliance issue today is absurd. You saw the, if I put the actual numbers up, you would think I was like a car salesman or something. I'm trying to it's insane, as to how many people don't even go get their meds and who don't pay for their meds. And what that does on your medical side, your unnecessary medical costs go up because then people are going to the ER, going to urgent care, doing all these things that they're not supposed to do just simply because they're not controlled on their medicines. But if you eliminate cost as a barrier, the doctor is suddenly like, you get it for free. Great, let me talk to whoever, and they'll call our pharmacy, and we can take affordable scripts. Okay. They can print the script out and hand it to the member. Member can upload it to the portal. That's kind of the third option.
That's typically compliant.
That's HIPAA compliant because our portal's HIPAA compliant.
Oh.
Yeah. Every office is a little bit different.
Yeah.
Or they figure out a way to fax it.
Yeah.
And that's usually like, hey, medical system, figure this out.
Oh,
So we work a lot.
That's what I was working.
We work a lot with those folks as well, but rarely, do we just not get a script. So that's a good question, though.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes, thank you so much again for the opportunity to discuss the two programs that we had to offer. If there are any questions, please, if you just want to fund those to Emily, you can send those to me. More than happy to answer those questions if you talk after. So thanks again.
And be careful.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, moving to the next. Session minutes for December 15th and January 5th. I'm gonna do those separately. So we have different members of those. So, is there a motion to approve the public session minutes for December 15th, 2022?
I so move.
Any discussion? I will note that Steve Miller was present there, but he won't be signing the minutes. Yeah, he was. That was his last meeting. So anyway, roll call.
Amy,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes.
Vicky,
Yes.
Stephanie.
Yes. And then Doug will abstain, because he was not on the board for that meeting, right? Does that make sense? Okay. So January 5th, 2023, agenda minutes were reviewed. We made a correction to that, and I saw that the one that we have here that we signed is corrected. So is there a motion to approve the January 5th, 2023 minutes? Absolutely. Wasn't at that meeting, so.
A second.
All right, and is there any discussion? All right, roll call.
Amy,
I will abstain because I was not there.
Carol,
Yes.
Vicky,
Yes.
and Stephanie were not there.
Yes.
Right. Next, we have a discussion item, is that correct, for the referendum?
Yes, and on the modified agenda, I have to apologize. Usually we have discussion as a numbered item on all of our typical ones. We sent out the agenda and then quickly realized we forgot that item. We corrected it, got that out to the media. And then when we went to do the modifications for tonight's meeting, we used the first template instead of the second one. So I apologize for that. It should be listed on this physical agenda. So we had a community member ask that we put the discussion topic of the referendum on tonight's agenda, and with approval from our board president, we decided to add that to the agenda. I would like to just start with being able to identify the facts of where we're at with this seeking of another referendum. And then I will open it up to the board.
That's what I was gonna say, I just wanna talk about procedure, so, you're gonna talk, and then we'll talk, and then, we will have opportunity for 3-minute, responses from the public. It won't be a back and forth, it will just be the same format that we usually use, which is 3 minutes. So that's the format we'll use for this. Okay, please go ahead.
So we put the referendum question on the ballot for the November election. The referendum failed. So we have a couple different options for the board to consider in seeking another referendum down the road. We cannot put it on the May 2023 ballot because not enough days would have passed. We are able to put it on the November 2023 ballot because legally, if 350 days pass, we would be able to get a petition signed and get 500 signatures between community members and employees to put it on that ballot. Brown County, specifically for the November 2023 election, there is not an election. There is nothing that would be on a ballot. If Brown County Schools chooses to put a question on the ballot, it causes the county to hold a special election. Legally, Brown County Schools would be required to pay for that election because we're requesting to hold the election, essentially. So that is an option. We can wait 700 days and not have to get a petition. And at that very next election, we would be able to seek it just like we were in November and not have to pay for it. That would put us at the November. Thank you. So May 2024. Thank you. We cannot do it in May 2023. We can pay for an election in November of 2023, or we can wait the 700 days and not pay
and have it on the May 2024. Those are the facts in moving forward of seeking another referendum. And I will open it up to the board for discussion.
Hi, I did and do support the referendum in order to fund the CRC, the Early Childhood Center, and staff salaries. The Indiana legislators have mandated teacher salaries to a minimum to which they do not fully fund with the student tuition that we receive per student. And we're now talking about elevating it up to $60,000. It's not the issue about teacher salary. I think teachers should be paid for what they do. It's what is being dictated and not funded. We need to be able to retain and recruit excellent teachers for our students to achieve excellence in their education in order to allow the greatest opportunity for success in whatever future journey they choose in life. We do have a PAC available, coming us back basically, that was working with on the referendum and providing education and providing signs and opportunities to communicate with the community members. And I make the presumption, although we have not got to that point of making a decision, that we would be available to do that again. We cannot do it within the school system. By law, we have to be outside of the school system to do those kind of activities. That's just a general statement that, thank you.
The only thing I question, I don't think we should pay to have a special election. I think we should wait until the May of 24, put it on the ballot for that.
I don't have anything to say right now.
Doug?
This is my second meeting, and so far, you know, sometimes you're the bug, and sometimes you're the windshield, and right now we're the bug. And the way it looks to me, you know, from what I've seen so far, that the board has been bringing me up to speed. Emily's working her tail off. You know, I don't see any major catastrophes coming, but I mean, we lost the referendum. You know, it's cutting. I can't make it a fuzzy feeling and warm. And it's just the way it is right now. But from what I've seen so far, you know, there's some strategy going in. I've been impressed with so far, and you know, that's what we got to go with. And I kind of agree with the board too on the new vote. I think that would be very troublesome for us, and you know, it's just something that we want to deal with. I feel like come 2024. So you know, the county spoke. You know, it's not, you know, the schools. You know, we're here dealing with what the county voted on. You know, there was 2 districts out of the whole county that agreed with it, and then another one that tied. So, you know, we gotta deal with that. But like I said, you know, we're gonna be the windshield the time it's all said and done. So that's all I got.
I have, I guess I just want to address what I feel like is, as I said, when there's sort of a lack of information, people are like, oh my gosh, the world is coming to an end. It's not. You know, we need referendum money. We're going to seek it again. Can't be any more plain than that. We will do that. I don't want everybody to catastrophize this. We did what we needed to do. We thought that we ran a good campaign. I thought we were doing a great job of educating everybody. It was shocking. It was disappointing. But I'm with Doug that this was the vote, and we accept that. So as a result, we will be having to cut our budget. And that's just the facts that we have to deal with right now. And until May of 24, which I think again is the most likely time in which we'd seek the referendum, again, we're gonna be, doing what we need to do as responsible board members to cut that budget and do what we need to do. The world is not coming to an end. We are still gonna keep doing our job every single day, educating the kids of Brown County. And we're doing a great job of it. We're doing really good stuff. We have been doing this, if you will remember, since 2016. Dr. Hammock told us back in 2016, here's the trend. And she has made many small cuts throughout that period of time. We are still in good shape as of today. We're just doing what we need to do to prepare for this lack of $1.2 million. By the time we get to either November of 23, if we should choose to do that, or May of 24, we'll have made those cuts. We'll be, coming to the voters again and hopefully putting out a case that we'll be able to convince those voters that a referendum is absolutely needed. We've only lost by about 335 votes, I think it is. Thank you. And so, we need to, work on that, our messaging, and we need to be able to do that. So that's what we're going to do. People are like, well, what are we going to cut? We are going to analyze every single bit of the budget, cut all of the things that we can do, and try to minimize the impact, obviously, on our staff and on our kids. That's all we can do right now. So that's what we're going to continue to do. And I know Emily is working with Dawn very, very hard and with our other staff to try to figure out how we can do that. There are going to be some cuts that may be painful. They're not cuts that we want to make, but we do have to live within our budget. That's our job. And just like any household or any business, that's what we have to do. But are we seeking a referendum again, like everybody after that? Of course we are. That is the only way when we talk, that money is for teacher pay. Let's just be honest about it. And we are already low on the scale compared to our surrounding counties on teacher pay. And we have to see that money. That's what we're going to do. But we can't do it tomorrow. We have to live within the confines of the legislature. And I don't want to lose again. So we are absolutely going to spend that time making sure that we're getting the message out to those folks. And they, and if I could have talked to every voter, I feel like I could have convinced them why we needed that money. But, how do we reach those folks? And I appreciate your coming to us from the PTO and talking to us about how can we be helpful. And I had a retired teacher organization come to me as well. So, we have to take responsibility. We probably thought we were reaching everybody, and we probably weren't. So we need to utilize all of those things and making sure that we are using our parents and our staff and our community to get the word out so that we can be successful in the future. So that's what our plan is. Again, the world's not coming. It's not coming down around us. We are doing what we need to do, and we're just going to keep, being fiscally responsible, because that's what we're doing. That's what we need to do. So I hope that answers some of those questions. We are all, we are all in this together, the board and the superintendent, working towards the same goals. And I think we're going to be as successful as we can given the situation we have.
Yeah, I think, you did ask what is a way that you can help. One thing that could help me tremendously is when we say that the district would have to pay for that election. I can't get anybody to tell me how much that election is going to cost the district. That is one area that I need help in. So I just put that out there. Our team is trying to do some research, and it's been difficult trying to what would it really cost us? Mm-hmm. Is it minimal, or is it not?
And no one can tell us that because no one's done it. So that's one question. The other question for me is that and you probably heard us say this before, the question on the ballot is not determined by us. It's determined by the state legislature. And the state legislature doesn't want us to be successful. And I'll come right out and say that. So in doing that, they've written it in a very confusing manner. I'm a lawyer and I know something about school law and I still don't understand the question. So the general public was confused. And so how you can, as I said, if I can talk to each person individually, I can talk about that. But if I just go in and read the ballot and read that question, I either don't know and I don't vote, which is about 1,000 people who voted, did not vote on the question at all. Or I'm gonna say my taxes are going up and I'm gonna vote no. It is designed that way, and I will be real honest. So the answer there is the state legislature. So I would encourage you to write to our legislators. We do have a priority for the Indiana State School Board Association. I was on the legislative committee this summer, and I made sure that was one of our legislative priorities is to change the language. That doesn't mean that the legislature will do that. We'll do that, but we do need to talk to the legislature about school funding in general, school funding for small and declining enrollment schools, referendum language, stopping preferences for charter schools, which hurts public schools. So all of those issues, many of the things that we're experiencing are not of our doing, they are of state policy that comes to us. So if by April, the language of the referendum on the ballot would change, and we found out that it didn't cost very much money to hold a special election, those facts might change our mind about a November special election. But those are facts I don't have today, so we can't make that decision today. So that's the position that we're in.
And I'll address the special election because I have been spending a lot of time with the election board at meetings. So I told a special election, the way we hold a typical election, I believe there are 11 precincts, and those precincts have to be manned, which means you have to pay people. You have to pay for a place. There's a lot of money involved. To find out the dollar figure for that, I would go to the election board or the treasurer's office, because they could give you that information.
I have gone to the election board, just to put that out there. So
Okay.
it would require additional research with
Yeah.
vendors and everything that goes with it.
Yeah. But I think another option that has not been discussed is that both political parties are interested in going to voting centers, which means voting centers, as opposed to precincts, and that the cost of that is one of the reasons they want to do that is the cost would be much less. And it's almost like that might be a pipe if we wanted to go with a fall November 2023, that a voting center, it might be a good pilot program to see if the county would be interested in that. It wouldn't cost us as much. It would be the only thing on the ballot. I'm not saying that that's a good idea or a bad idea. I'm just throwing it out there to you for some research that you might want to do.
Yes, is the board, is that all we have?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and open it up for 3-minute comments. Claire, you want to come to the front row? Make sure we can see and hear you.
Do I sit?
Whatever you like.
Okay, I just, the point is that I'm going to sit. That this $1.2 million, that is impact, that what we are worrying about, that it will hit schools so hard. It's just, if once we lose momentum, we're gonna be just almost killed. That we don't know what kind of impact it's gonna bring our school. I mean, my mind, I'm a music musician, I'm an amateur musician. Hey, we're gonna cut off this theater or something that's so vital to our children and students that might be cut off. And it's gonna make the identity why the school exists, right? So as a parent, we really wanna make sure that anything that drastic, catastrophic experience don't happen to our school. So we need to kind of weigh the value. So even if it's we just pay some money upfront, but so let's say because we failed, I'm sorry to say this, we failed referendum, that actually that kind of brings us together. Like this is momentum. There's momentum there that we got to save our school. That this is kind of a timing that we can kind of talk to our parents actually aggressively, more practically, and just gonna grab hold of them. Hey, if we don't do anything else, we're gonna lose our schools, actually. So our point is that money is important, but what kind of a loss or damage both our children and our teachers and programs have to go through. So we have kind of weigh the pros and cons so that we really make sure that we don't destroy our schools. So because once we lose all these teachers, I mean, they probably start like making an interview with other schools. So that we need to give them some kind of hope and vision that, hey, we know we have obstacles coming on, but we believe in the value because Brown County School is such a huge presence in our community. It's kind of part of identity of Brown County. We got to work hard to make things going. And well, it's kind of 10,000, 6,000. We can find some money from outside. But less parents do the job. You know, we've never been this involved. So we take our responsibility. But like this when things happen, we cannot be silent. As a parents, we got to make sure that our children get the education, our teachers stay there, our programs, because it's our Brown County. We are Brown County is our lifeline. So I'm sorry. So that's kind of we want to really. It's not about just money. It's just really value and the impact it's going to have for 5, 10 years of our future. So that's what we want to invest in. Thank you.
Thank you, Claire.
You were right on.
Right on target.
On time.
Yay.
Other comments? Well, and Claire, I just want to address it. We're with you. We don't want those things to happen, and that's certainly what we're trying to do. And I would say that I've had more people talk to me about the referendum after the election than they did before the election. So I do think there is this opportunity for different groups of people to say, wow, this could really happen. I think maybe everybody just thought it was going to happen, and we were complacent. And so I agree with you that I think that is a motivating factor. So hopefully we can harness that. So thank you, and we appreciate everybody's efforts, and we will be calling on you in the future. Anything else? All right. Moving on. Action needed items.
I have the recommendation to approve the donation of $1,000 from Brown County Community Foundation to the CRC for certification scholarships.
Right. Is there a motion to approve?
I make a motion, we approve the donation of $1,000 from the Community Foundation to the CRC.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion?
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Roll call?
Amy,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes.
Vicky,
Yes.
Stephanie,
Yes.
and Doug.
Yes.
All right. Number 2.
I have the recommendation to approve the donation of $500 from the SIOTS for the Brown County High School Band.
And motion to consider?
So moved.
Right, any discussion?
Thank you. For the bear. Science always come through.
Yeah, I actually recommended that one. I was like, we have some money, Mr. Finley, you need to ask for it. So I'm glad that happened. So roll call.
Amy,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes.
Vicky,
Yes.
Stephanie,
Yes.
and Doug.
Yes.
I have the recommendation to approve the donation of $500 from Nashville Arts and Entertainment Commission for the Brown County Middle School Art Program.
Is there a motion to consider? I'll second. Any discussion?
Also, thank you.
Yes.
We have had art programs and we'd like to keep them going.
Now, is this the one that Helen Boland spoke to us about, or is this something different?
Something different.
Okay. And it's going to the middle school art, what for specifically?
They haven't decided yet. It just, they're permitted to use it for anything within the art program. So I'm sure they're in the process of vision.
Okay, very good. Any other discussion? All right, roll call.
Amy,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes.
Vicky,
Yes.
Stephanie,
Yes.
and Doug.
Yes.
All right, consent agenda items. And we have, looks like 3 separations, an appointment and a transfer, starting with Michael Tryon, BCMS wrestling and football coach, through a BCMS assistant wrestling coach, Justice Guerrero. Is there a motion to consider those?
I so moved.
I'll second.
Right, any discussion?
Classmate of mine, Greg Taggart, I'm so proud that he's joining the crew, and I think he'll do a wonderful job. Really happy about that. He's waiting to retire.
All right, any other discussion? All right, roll call.
Amy,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes.
Vicky, yes, Stephanie, yes, and Doug.
Yes.
All right, superintendent's report.
This evening, I want to thank our partners at Artie Sutton and Brown & Brown for everything that they do for us. Their presentations tonight, just like when they presented to me, was very informative. I truly believe that both these programs are going to help save the district money. And at the end of the day, they are both direct benefits to our employees. And to me, it's a win-win. I also want to thank our district PTO council for being here tonight, for supporting us, for having the energy and wanting to continue the momentum for what we need to do. You have no idea what it means to me for that support. And to know that somebody's going to be here at all of our board meetings, it makes me delighted. So if we can get more people to come and get involved and engaged and hear our stories, that is the ultimate goal. So thank you for that. Our next ambassador meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, January 24th. Again, it's at 8:30. For those participants that are in that program, our topic will be wellness and safety. I'm proud to have Mr. Gavin Steele and Liz Hill to be presenting on both of those topics. And just a reminder to the board, we will be at Van Buren Elementary School. So I want to thank Greg Kennard for hosting us. Also, something that exciting is actually coming to fruition finally. As you know, Brown County Schools, we've identified 5 priorities in our first drafts of our 2023 to 2025 strategy and priority plan. Those are school safety and security, student outcomes, recruitment and retention, school family and community engagement, and happy staff and happy students. In our drafts, the district has outlined clear objectives that we will obtain over the next 3 to 5 years. And in addition to that, each school and each department has identified very specific, measurable, and relevant goals that are aligned to each of those priorities. We are excited to roll out one of these goals for the priority of school, family, and community engagement. And we have been working diligently on a quarterly magazine that will be sent out to the entire community. It will be called The Eagle's Eye. And our goal is to be able to share stories with the entire school community. We'll start with that quarterly magazine. We will also on our website have a monthly district newsletter that is like in a blog form. And then weekly we will have blogs from each of our principals to be able to provide updates, highlights, celebrations, upcoming events in that format as well. So these stories will be focused on all of the objectives through our 5 different priorities. And it is our attempt to provide transparent, clear communication so we can highlight the school district. Again, each quarter we'll publish a new edition of the Eagle Eye. We will be able to share it on all social media and our communication platforms. And the first one is scheduled for February 3rd. So I'm hoping that date doesn't change.
Right.
You should write it down. Our students, our staff, the entire school community, we have so much to be proud of at Brown County, and excited to get that off the ground. So look forward to that. I want to thank Matt Finley, our Brown County High School band director, for all of his hard work and his dedication to the program here. Today, he took our band kiddos to each of the elementary schools to share their love of music and show off their incredible talent. So be looking for pictures and videos on social media to see all of their work. I want to thank Trent Austin, Mark Gruner, Emily Llewellyn, Alicia Adams, Carly Salisbury, entire staff at the high school for making homecoming week fun, engaging, and something to remember for our kids. The pep sessions tomorrow afternoon, and of course, the official events will begin Saturday evening. So I hope to see a lot of community come out and support, and just thank the high school for doing something special for the kids. The Playhouse is offering a free showing of The Addicts Wake tomorrow at 6:30. They had one tonight, but we are all here. So if you want to, it is an incredible opportunity to see the documentary, and it is free. So that's tomorrow at the Playhouse. And finally, it is Board Appreciation Month, and I want to thank the board members for all your support and helping us reach our vision here at Brown County Schools, creating world-class opportunities, fostering small school relationships so we can leave a lifelong impact. I hope you enjoyed dinner. I want to thank Don Heimer, Chartwells, and his staff for always serving us. So thank you. You can clap after every time I get to see it. That would be awesome.
All right, that completes your report?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, very good. We need to vote on claims. So is there a motion to adopt the claims as presented in the board packet?
I'll second.
All right, any discussion? All right, let's do roll call.
Amy,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes.
Vicky,
Yes.
Stephanie,
Yes.
and Doug.
Yes.
All right, is there a motion to adjourn?
Yes, absolutely.
And is there a second? All right, everybody say aye.